So good morning, everyone. My name is Sue Sani, and I'm the CEO of WeDidIt. We are a fundraising platform for nonprofits. We help nonprofits raise money online and research their donors. So the first thing I want to get across today to everyone here in the audience is that the nonprofit market is huge. Last year, nonprofits raised over $360 billion. And of that, $260 billion came from individuals just like me and you here. But nonprofits also spend money in order to raise money. And in 2015, they spent over $50 billion on fundraising tools and services. Now, despite all of this money changing hands, there's still a major issue in our industry when it comes to fundraising. If you're responsible for fundraising at a nonprofit, you know better than anyone that it is critical to collect valuable information on your donors. But it is also a nightmare. The reason why this process is so painful is because it usually takes 4 to 8 hours scouring the web, navigating through multiple websites and databases and platforms, just to pull together a research report on one person. If you multiply that by the number of potential people a nonprofit researcher could research in their database or in their CRM, you can see how humanly impossible it is to do comprehensive research at this scale. Well, impossible until today. WeDidIt's solution to this problem is our product called Insights. And with Insights, we can collect all the relevant information from all around the web automatically and compile it into one platform for our clients. That's right. We are automating prospect research so that our clients don't even have to think about it. And with just an email address, there is a hell of a lot we can tell about a person. For example, with just an email address, we can find where someone lives, works, and even their social media presence. We can uncover who their employer is and if their employer matches the charitable contributions of their employees. We identify things like whether the person was mentioned in the press or in the news most recently, as well as what is their estimated home value or rental price. More importantly, we can tell what is someone's passions and personal interests by scouring their social media. Now, what makes WeDidIt Insights unique is that we compile all of this information into data-rich, beautiful profiles, as you see here. And this makes it easy for our customers to easily decipher which donors or prospects to focus on. Because we're using machine learning and sophisticated algorithms, we can segment lists for our clients and identify the best donors for a particular organization. Our clients also use our technology and its recommendations to understand the best outreach strategy for securing a major donation from any of their prospects. Now, our business model. It's very simple to understand. Depending on the total number of donor records in the nonprofit's database defines the subscription costs. So if you're a nonprofit, you're relatively small, and perhaps you only have a few thousand donor records in your database, you could use WeDidIt's powerful technology for only a couple $100s a month. But let's say you're a large national brand with over 1 million donor records in your CRM. You too can use WeDidIt for a couple of $1,000s a month. In either situation, our product scales according to the customer's size and needs. What's also interesting to note is that we've seen our business model work internally through direct sales, where I've watched one salesperson and one sales development rep bring in over $35,000 a month in new business. At this point, we have over 90 paying enterprise customers, all of whom are brands that you guys have heard of. The New York Public Radio, the LA Zoo, the Oakland Zoo, the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, the Natural History Museum. But our client list isn't the only thing that's growing. So is our traction. Over the last 18 months, I've watched WeDidIt's business more than triple the average annual contract size across all of our customers. And most importantly, the number of donor records we're collecting is growing exponentially. With each new customer we bring on board, they upload donor records, and that creates a virtuous cycle where our product gets better and performs better because of this data for the next group of customers. And when it comes to revenue, I couldn't be more proud to say that we will be profitable in 2017. But I'm most excited to announce today that just this week, we got a 3-year agreement for $2.4 million with an organization called Petlanthropy. Petlanthropy has over 900 animal shelters under their umbrella, and all of their pet shelters will be using WeDidIt to power their fundraising for the next 3 years. Now, when it comes to the beauty contest, we've had our fair share of press. Business Insider, the Wall Street Journal, Mashable, the Chronicle of Philanthropy. But what we're most proud of is the impact we make on our customers and being able to share their excitement and the impact that they're making within their communities. I once sat at a gala for one of our customers called the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, NIFTY. Some of you might be familiar with them. And at NIFTY's gala, they had over 300 attendees. They created an event using WeDidIt's technology to invite the most targeted donors and supporters to their gala. And I sat there and watched them raise over $50,000 in less than 1 hour. It was truly impactful and truly powerful to see. Our team, today I'm here with one of my best friends and co-founder and VP of sales, Ben Lamson. Ben has over 8 years of experience in direct sales and sales management. He's led multi-million-dollar sales teams throughout his professional career. He's flown all around the country, invited to speak at conferences on nonprofit fundraising and digital marketing. Our CTO, Brian Liff, is a gentleman that has over 15 years of software development experience and management expertise. Brian is a guy who worked at a startup called Clipmart about 10 years ago, and Clipmart was eventually acquired by DoubleClick, who we all know was eventually acquired by Google for several $billion. So Brian brings that expertise and technology leadership to WeDidIt. And myself, Susani, I have a background in sales from the Meltwater Group, where I met Ben Lamson, and I also have a background in finance, working as a financial analyst at Brown Brothers Harriman, which is one of the country's oldest private investment banks. I couldn't be more excited and proud of my team and company to be here today pitching all you folks here in Buffalo. We relish the opportunity to be in front of the stage here, but more importantly, to hopefully move here to Buffalo and build our company and build our team by hiring locally and expanding WeDidIt's technology to the rest of the world. Thank you for your time today. And thank you, judges.
Well done.
Thank you, Jordan.
So another Brooklynite.
Hey, there we go.
So I saw on the last slide,
Come on,
you raised
Well, you know, let me bring out Ben. Everyone, this is Ben Lamson. Give him a round of applause.
I saw on the last slide you raised money from 500 startups and Comcast Ventures. So you've gone through presumably a seed round, but not an institutional round of financing?
Yeah, about a seed round. We haven't raised a qualified round of financing or done preferred shares.
Okay.
So all of the money we've raised to date has been from angel investors and accelerators.
Okay, fair enough. In order to come to Buffalo, you know the terms as accelerator. It's a great deal, $1 million and 5% non-diluted over time. But venture capitalists in New York in particular might push back on that. So are you really going to come here to Buffalo if you win the award?
Absolutely. We've talked about this for several months now. we're excited about moving to Buffalo. We think Buffalo has a tremendous amount to offer to a company like us. And yeah, this is 100%, part of our interest and our excitement to moving here.
Personally, I'm from Michigan, and I've seen what Detroit Venture Fund has done in the city of Detroit, and I think there's something really romantic about being a part of a renaissance and helping rebuild a town, a Rust Belt town that's been affected by the economy and some of these things that have happened.
Hear, hear. We like to hear that. Eric.
So there's a bit of an elephant in the room, and I know Dave McClure well, and I also know William Crowder at DreamIt, but I'm curious to know, it's a nonprofit-based company, or you guys are selling to nonprofits.
Yep.
And there's an inherent concern from an investment standpoint that at some point, your goals will be to be more, altruistic and maybe not be profit-driven. And I'm wondering if, can you speak to that a little bit about kind of where you guys stand on that from a value standpoint, from a philosophy standpoint?
For sure. I'll start. Well, first and foremost, Ben and I come from a background of B2B sales in a for-profit business. That's where we learned, some of our expertise, and that shapes our perspective on how to build a company. So although we have altruism in our hearts and we want to, create impact, we run this business just like any other startup would. So that includes making hard decisions, including fundraising from investors and determining how we're going to use that type of capital to grow the company and create a return on investment for our shareholders and the staff members who have equity in the business. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we want to do good, but because we all are invested in this company and have ownership, we'd like to see a return on our time and effort put forth.
And we also see the opportunity. I know you're an investor in RevUp, so I'm sure you know the space fairly well. Then you know that Blackbaud is a $2.2 billion company. Abilla was bought for $150 million. Convio was bought for $350 million. There's a lot of opportunity in this space. It has taken some education to help investors understand that nonprofit does not equal no profit from a business standpoint.
Can you talk about how you got Brian on board? He seems to be, seems to have a good resume.
Yeah.
And then can you also talk about this concept of data miners, which I read about. You didn't talk about it today, but read about in some of the preparation materials.
Sure.
And what that means, I guess, concretely for Buffalo.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'll chat about Brian, our CTO, and Ben will handle the question about data miners and that strategy. So to be honest, we actually found Brian through a Craigslist ad. We had thought about this idea of helping nonprofits raise money, and at the time, Ben and I were just two business guys who couldn't code our ways out of a brown paper bag. So, we knew we needed someone who was a true technologist and engineer to partner with us. After spending maybe 3-4 months networking and going to meetup groups, trying to meet engineers and developers, we came across Brian through a Craigslist ad and literally spent the next 2 or 3 months getting to know each other, working on smaller projects. And after some time, it became clear that he was at a point in his life where he wanted to start a company and also do something that felt good at the end of the day. He just fit the bill in terms of skills and interest and risk profile. Brian is someone who's about 43, 44 years old, so he's older than me and Ben, but he brings a lot of experience and technical know-how that we didn't have. And I think we both saw the true partnership, and that was the reason why he was interested in coming on board.
And then to your question about data miners, so if you're familiar with TurboTax, H&R Block, I'm sure a lot of people here are familiar with TurboTax. In the way that TurboTax has made it where anyone can do their taxes and you don't need a knowledge base, we've actually created a solution where anyone can take the data in our profiles, walk through a step-by-step process, and create what's called a profile briefing, which tends to be more like a 2 to 3 page narrative as opposed to just a bunch of facts like home value, income, so on and so forth. Allows them to walk through and automates this process where you don't need 12 months, 18 months of training that prospect researchers typically use. So we're doing this both customer-facing and in-house. We can give the tool like TurboTax to the clients, to be able to onboard new prospect researchers, and week 1 they can start creating these briefings. And then also internally, like H&R Block has brought on they're not high-skilled CPAs that cost a lot of money. They're this model where you can actually outsource getting your taxes done for a lot less money than going to a high-qualified CPA. So we're actually allowing customers to come to us, and for pennies on the dollar, we can create these prospect briefings in-house for them.
Tell us more about the data miners, though. Who are they? What do they do? And how would they be employed by you guys?
So they can be employed remotely, which is very exciting. But this is also one of the exciting things about moving to Buffalo is the cost of living being so much less. They don't need to be high-skilled workers with college degrees. So we can actually employ individuals with just a high school degree to use this technology to build these profiles. So they really can be remote, but also here in Buffalo, we can get them for much less money than we can in New York City.
Tracy.
So what about product evolution over time? Because you talk about machine-based learning systems, right? That's a pretty nice statistical model that not a lot of people really understand because it is pretty complicated, but it's a platform that you talk about. How do you plan to use that technology to go beyond what you're doing today?
Yep.
Or have you thought about that yet?
I can handle this one. So one of the benefits of using machine learning in a product like this is after some time, we'll have enough data to basically determine trends and insights that new customers and other organizations can use from the WeDidIt platform. So I think in terms of product evolution, there's going to be initially a utility that our customers get from using the product. They use it and it spits out reports or collects information around their donors. But the next layer on top of that is providing analytics and trends on all donors across one customer as well as all of our customers. For example, the Guggenheim Museum, we have an agreement and an arrangement with them. They've been beating down our doors to show them which of their donors are also donating to other nonprofits. That is huge if you are in the fundraising space at a nonprofit or even a school or university. You want to know the share of wallet that you're sharing with other organizations when it comes to your particular donors. So that type of information we can deliver after we build up a larger and larger database of customers and data.
And I think in addition to that, we're also be able to crack the silver bullet, the nut is to provide new leads as opposed to mining the existing database. That's really the thing that no one's been able to figure out yet. So we can combine this machine learning with our web scraping technology to no longer just go off quantitative data, which is what the industry has done historically. The wealth engines, research points, iWave of the world, they define you as an ATM, and that's it. They don't define you as, are you a Yankee fan? Are you a Republican? Do you like knitting? Do you have kids? Are you divorced? So on and so forth. They're not looking at that qualitative data. So once we get to scale with our data set, we can now use that qualitative data to then use our web scraping technology and deliver a whole new set of prospects to our clients. Excuse me.
Two questions. One is you have a high dependency on data sources, and I'm just wondering what you think is going to happen with regard to privacy regulation and what that will do to sort of affect the substrates you work with.
Yep.
And then the second thing is, have you looked towards any sort of pooling of data across nonprofits and sharing so that you can create a lead generation pool, and what are the barriers to doing that?
So I'll answer both parts of those. In terms of privacy, if anything, as consumers, we are publishing more and more data on ourselves. One of the things why our price points are so much lower than our competitors is most of our data is publicly available, and we acquire it for free through web scraping. So I don't see that. We don't see that changing. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but we don't see that changing. If anything, we see more data being published publicly. Pooling, great question. It's something we are working towards. There will be a barrier in the industry. There is a stigma with sharing data. What Sue mentioned with the Guggenheim, we have clients who are saying, we are all for this. We will call up the Met tomorrow, get them on board with you, and then we can, Guggenheim and the Met can pool their data and we'll all share. And then we have other clients who are going, I don't like that idea. So I think it's going to take some education, and it's going to be a slow process. We're not going to be able to jump in the deep end. If you jump in the deep end, I think there's a high risk of making some mistakes and turning people off for life.
Great. Guys, thanks a million. Take care. Well done.